All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pre-Dental Club this spring semester. I hope everyone has been staying healthy and that those of you who have moved back on campus this past week, all of that went smoothly. Okay, so I'm going to begin by just quickly recapping the highlights of last semester so that in case you missed a meeting or aren't sure if we covered a topic, you have that comprehensive slide right here. So just the highlights of last semester were the majors/minor student panel during the second meeting, the letters of recommendation breakdown and resume building in meeting number 4. We had a great guest presentation from Dr. Jordan Brown about dental school and paying for dental school during meeting 5. We had the in-depth DAT breakdown during the 6th meeting. And then finally, we had the dental student panel Q&A with the PAT breakdown from Dr. Kainrad. And then we had a few other events that you can definitely look forward to next year at this point. And then the QR code is just to our YouTube channel in case you did miss a meeting and want to go back, or if in the future, for example, you're taking the DAT in June and you want to revisit that meeting, you can really easily access that. The only meeting that's not on the YouTube channel is the 7th one, but you can find that in your meeting minutes email. And then briefly, I just wanted to go over the tentative meeting schedule for this upcoming semester. Of course, everything is subject to change, but in general, hopefully we will hit all of these topics at some meeting. So today is going to be an ASDA presentation, and also we'll be talking a bit about approaching a concerning or bad quote unquote grade. At the next meeting will be the long-awaited ADSAS dental school application breakdown, where we will kind of pick apart the whole process of applying, which is quite daunting, but we will get that together. And then the third meeting will be an election overview. So if you are looking forward to or even thinking about running for a position next year, we will get to those details in the future. And then we will also hopefully be having a guest presentation, maybe about the business side of dentistry or something along those lines. At the next meeting will be a personal statement workshop with career services and counseling. And we are also hoping to do a personal statement workshop with actual dental students virtually, kind of one-on-one or in small groups, where basically you come to them with your ideas, or if you need advice, they can kind of guide you on that journey because again, it can be kind of scary. And then there won't be a meeting on St. Patrick's Day. After that, we will do the meeting about dental school comparisons. So kind of going through each common dental school that people from Ohio State apply to and breaking down the cost, breaking down the different interview types and experiences that students have. And then April 7th will be on interview topics and tips. This was a meeting that we haven't done in the past, but a lot of people were really hoping for. And finally, hopefully we'll be able to do some sort of training like we have done in the past with the REACH suicide prevention. We're hoping to do a similar but different type of training, either around implicit bias or cultural competency. And then sometime in March, we will have the actual elections process and like the result. Since it is virtual, it will probably take a few weeks to get every position kind of filled and everyone on the same page, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. And then just quickly, lots of words on the slide, but if you are interested in research as an undergrad, a new professor in the College of Dentistry, Dr. Kaspar, is looking for some volunteers or people who are interested in research for credit hours or for honors. It's about the microbial interactions in the human oral cavity. I have the QR code to his website and also his dot number on this side, just in case you are interested and want to learn more. Okay, with that said, I am going to hand it off to Scott Balzer, and he is going to be kind of talking about ASDA because one of our most commonly asked questions is whether undergrad pre-dent students should be a member or not. So he'll be discussing not only that, but also the benefits and the benefits and overview and summary of everything.
Is that right? Maybe? Is my mic on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Sorry. I got some Microsoft error reporting notes, so I'm making sure I can share what I have here and whatnot. I get my PowerPoint just shut down. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about ASDA here as I pull this up. I'll go through kind of who I am. At any point in time, if you have any questions about dental school in general, about ASDA, about pre-dental stuff, you feel free to stop me. Lily, if you see someone in the chat write something and you think it's important, go ahead and you can interrupt me, no big deal. I'm thrilled to be here. If anyone's heard me talk to the pre-dental club, you probably heard me mention that back in the day, I was president of the pre-dental club. So this club has a special place here in my heart. And you guys are definitely doing the right thing by joining and just being here and doing what you can to get in dental school. So kudos to you all. There we go. Is this it? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you're talking, but I can't hear you. I don't know if anyone else can.
Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear as well.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
So should I? Yeah. No. Yeah. Sorry, my internet connection is unstable. This is what you get for living in the campus slum housing. As a dental student, that doesn't end. So sorry. But okay. Anyway, is ASDA right for me? What is ASDA? The American Student Dental Association. So as you can see, the little asterisk up top. Yes, it is right for you. So I'm going to tell you why. So here's just a brief little introductory paragraph, just with some pictures, just kind of highlighting some of the things that we do. So the picture right here, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor or not, but this is just a group of about 20 of Indianapolis last year, obviously pre-COVID, but we go to a lot of regional and national meetings where we learn about the business side of dentistry, about cutting edge technology, about leadership, how to run a practice, how to advocate for our profession, and I'll get more into the specifics behind that. But it's a good time to network with those from OSU as well as those from Case Western and just schools all across the country. I've got buddies and friends literally all across the country, and it's because of ASDA. So there's the example of that. Bottom left is a picture from Pre-Dent Day. Actually, the gal in the right side of that picture, she's a D1 now. I just helped her out in early clinic. So started pre-dental, and now look at her. That's you guys hopefully next. Bottom right is a picture of us. We do a lot of volunteer events. It's not just, business, and, we have fun. We help out people. So we're at a food kitchen downtown Columbus, making meals for the homeless community down there. And the top right is Fuad. He's a third year now, I guess. That was at our Mr. Moeller pageant. So we rented out the Ohio Union, and it was like a male, I guess, like beauty pageant, if you will. It wasn't a fundraiser or anything. We just want to have fun. The dean was there. We had faculty judges. Some pre-dents, I think, were there that year. But obviously, some of this stuff has been kind of put on pause since COVID, but 100% will be picked up as soon as that stuff is, all worked out. So a little brief background about me, if you don't know who I am. My name's Scott Balzer, like Lily said. I'm from Chillicothe, Ohio, which is about an hour south of Columbus. I went to a small high school there, graduated like 100. I did go to OSU for undergrad. I started out microbiology for about a year, and then I thought, hey, I don't like this. This is not my thing, but I still want to do the sciences, and nutrition interested me. So I went the human nutrition route, and I'm super, super, super glad I did that. If anyone has any questions about kind of that route, I know biology is pretty traditional going into dental school, but mine worked out just fine. If anyone has questions about that route, don't hesitate to ask me. I'll put my contact at the end of this presentation, and I'm sure Lily will also send that out. So about me, top left there's a picture of me D1 year, working on type it on there. That's like probably like the first week of dental school. I'm in dental school, obviously. Picture on the right is just some hay bales in a field. My dad's a farmer. I grew up farming. I love being outside. If I could do another job, it'd probably be farming, but that's a big part of my life. The bottom right photo is a group of my bench mates from dental school. That's our halfway dinner. So at the end of your second year, you have a big banquet and you like do like superlatives and you just get to enjoy the company of one another right before you start clinic and just kind of celebrate you getting done with the rigorous anatomy and biochemistry and physiology and all that jazz. So you make really good friends in dental school. All these guys, you know, you spend a lot of time together, but you have a lot of fun and you gotta make it the best you can down the pits of the pre-clinic. And then on the photo on the bottom left there, I like to travel a lot. I advised you guys before dental school, if you have a job and you've been saving money, like very good, awesome. I did the same thing. At the end of the day, when I thought about how I wanted to spend that money, you know, tuition for dental school, the money that I made was really a drop in the bucket. And I thought, hey, I want to have some cool life experiences before I really, get after this whole school thing. So that's me in the Philippines diving. I've been to like 25 countries or so. I just recommend doing that as much as you can if that's your thing. If not, that's cool too. But I am a D4, so almost done in almost 4 months. My plans after I graduate is that I'm going to do a general practice residency. That's what GPR stands for, with the Prisma Health Hospital System down in Columbia, South Carolina, for a year. I just wanted to learn more about surgery, and that program's surgery heavy. So I want to be a general dentist still, but I want to place implants, any kind of extraction you can think of. So I'm going to do that for a year, and I want to come back to Ohio and be a private practice doc. We'll kind of see where that takes me. So there's a little about me. So ASDA, the American Student Dental Association, we are under the umbrella of organized dentistry. I'm not sure how much you guys hear this in the pre-dental world, but when you get to dental school, you hear about organized dentistry, organized dentistry. I thought before I did ASDA, I was like, what is organized dentistry? I have no idea. Organized dentistry is really a summation of all four of these groups. Starting at the very bottom here, I try to make a pyramid here if you can. It's like a hierarchy thing. The bottom is the American Dental Association, the ADA, right? So the biggest governing board for dentists out there. That's not like the law, obviously state dental boards do that, but it's the biggest group of dentists that kind of come together, different kind of products, different toothpaste have ADA seals of approval, whatnot. We basically form the guidelines that help dentists practice. That's the very, the heart and soul of organization. The next is then your state organization. So the Ohio Dental Association, obviously here for us. And then next after state is your local. So here in Columbus, obviously the Columbus Dental Society. The past president of the Columbus Dental Society is actually a faculty member at Ohio State, Dr. Jim Cottle. He is an awesome guy. If you get the chance to meet him, he's just a crazy awesome mentor. He's helped me out a lot, and he loves to share his knowledge with pre-dents and dental students. And at the very top here of that triangle is ASDA. So that's the student part of this whole pyramid, and that's where we fall. There is an ASDA chapter at all 66 dental schools across the country. So we'll kind of get into some more numbers here next. So intro to organized dentistry, that, the last slide was what makes it up. And here's what it is. So it's the combined efforts of all of these: national, state, local, and student. All members stand together to represent dentistry and improve oral health through advocacy, education initiatives. I'm going to go into advocacy later. That's like the heart and soul of organized dentistry and what advocacy means. We also, foster excellence in dental education programs. We help set standards for what is being taught, make sure we're producing good dentists out there. We also do a lot with funding dental research. So a lot of the studies are funded by the ADA. And then finally, facilitate developments of standards within practice. So what are standards of practice for dentists out there? What kind of products should we be using? What kind of procedures are safe for patients? Yada, yada, yada. So next, the heart and soul of what we stand for is advocacy. It's the foundation, and what we do, how we make change in dentistry as as organized dentistry looks out for the whole profession, is that it happens via legislation. Rules and laws dictate how things run in this country, whether it be taxes or that gets changed and affected via legislation. So what the ADA and ASDA and the ODA, what it does is it forms a group and we meet with legislators. You talk to state representatives, you talk to U.S. representatives. You actually have meetings with their advisors. You sit down and we have certain talking points every year about different cases we want to make. And, over, I think it's 70% of dentists are part of the ADA. And because these lawmakers know that the majority of dentists are part of this, they listen to us. Whereas our counterparts in the medical world, the American Medical Association, it's something like 40%. So, if we're not even the majority, how can legislators, take us seriously? Why do they even care at that point? So it's important that we keep our numbers up there. I'll talk more about that a little later too. So via advocacy, we fight for things that help dentists run their practices more effectively. So affect insurance. Actually, just very recently, not to bore you with certain acts and laws, but the McCarran-Ferguson Act just got passed through this House and Senate, and it's on the president's desk to be passed. What that is, it's an antitrust law. So what that means is, here's an example. Let's say I like to give this one. Lemonade stand and Lily lemonade stand. Lily right now currently sells her lemonade for $1 and I sell mine for 75 cents. So we both get together, Lily and I do, and we say, hey, why don't we both just charge $1.25? We're both going to make more money. We'll just split the difference. We both come out ahead. So currently, dental insurance companies, health insurance companies can do this. It's basically collusion, whereas every other business and organization in the country can't do that. You can't just like form a monopoly that way. It basically takes competition out of the healthcare market. It just passed, like I said, it was repealed. The McCarran-Ferguson Act apply to these insurance companies. They're no longer exempt. So that's one issue that they're fighting for. The ADA fights for funding for research. A bunch of this new COVID research was funded for by the ADA. Research as far as fluoridation in your water systems, different medical procedures, that kind of stuff. Also, dental care for the underserved. We understand that there's a huge need for dentists in rural populations. We try to think of ways to get dentists there, whether it be through increasing loan forgiveness options or doing like Give Kids a Smile. Those days are all run by the ADA. And then last but not least, big public health initiatives. So water fluoridation was pushed through by the ADA. That's considered one of the top 10 public health accomplishments of the 20th century. COVID guidelines recently, and then defining what essential care is. A lot of dentists at the very beginning of this whole pandemic weren't allowed to do anything really. The ADA fought and said, hey, dentistry, dentistry is a real problem. People have dental abscesses, or it might not start as a dental abscess, but can turn into that if we can't let dentists do their thing. So they fought for that. Cool, advocacy. So whereas ASDA come in, we are the student part of that. So just because we're students doesn't mean that we don't have a voice, doesn't mean that we don't have our own interests and things that we want to promote. So also it makes a huge deal. I've been to, Capitol Hill, I've been to the Ohio State House. They love to see, these legislators love to see dental students who are passionate. They love to see the young community come out and really stand for these things. It really amps up the older dentists too. These guys who think, no one after me is going to take over. What's going to happen to our profession? It's going, it's going to crap. Well, no, like it's not. Students have their place in this. The bottom left there was the ASDA's national governing board 2 years ago. So not only does Ohio State have an ASDA chapter, there's one in every other school, and then there's a national ASDA leadership board, which anyone can run for. And I suggest doing that if that's down your alley. So who we represent? I mentioned that the ADA represents about 70% of dentists. ASDA actually represents about 93% of dental students. At OSU alone, we have 300 plus students in our chapter, and that does not include pre-dents. And awesome for you guys. I know that recently the OSU Predental Club and OSU in general has had the most pre-dents in the country. So you guys are understanding the importance of this, and it's awesome. And I know that we tried in the past for all this COVID to try to incorporate more dental student activities with pre-dental activities, and I love that. I had a great time. I hope that as we move forward with everything that we can continue doing that, because I love the whole mentorship thing and answering your guys' questions and just seeing you guys excited about things. It really matters. And dental students, like, we like you guys. I promise. Like, we were in your shoes. We know what it's like. So hope we can continue that. And pre-dents are a big part of ASDA. And I'll talk about more benefits towards the end here. You know, why should you as a pre-dent now, as opposed to waiting until you join? We'll talk about it. So some issues that ASDA is currently fighting for dental students is the student debt issue. So I know that I think Dr. Brown last semester talked about paying for dental school, and I'm not sure choosing dental schools based on finances, whatever. But if you go to any kind of student dental network or dental town, right now the big hot topic is, oh my goodness, dental school tuition is out of control. It's real. Student debt is real. I feel like I have a pretty good grip on my student debt. I've been fortunate with some things, with scholarships and stuff, but my monthly payment is still going to be outrageous, even with like, when you throw in interest and everything. So student debt's real, even though you might think, hey, I'll push this down the road and deal with it later. It's a big thing. ASDA realizes that we're students. So some examples of that is there's a new partnership with Common Bond. It's a private loan company. So currently right now, basically, if you want to fund dental school, you got to go through the federal government, and they control interest rates. Like it's like either their way or the highway. Common Bond came in and that's formed a partnership with ASDA and said, hey, we're here to offer you some lower interest rate, better option loans. There's that. We also have a partnership with Laurel Road. Laurel Road is a reconsolidating firm that takes your dental school loans. I know some of this might be over your head now, but I promise it will matter. You will, when you see that statement coming back and you see your statement of account at the beginning of a semester, you'll really start to think about things. But refinancing loans is huge. If you can take a 6% interest rate down to 4%, I think it was going to save me over the course of my loan like $30,000. So that's real. That partnership with Laurel Road exists through the ADA. The next thing we did, we fought for the READY Act, the Resident Education Deferred Interest Act. So currently into a specialty, whether it be pediatrics or orthodontics or oral surgery, during those years of residency, even though like you can't pay on your loans, obviously you're making resident salary, your interest still is accruing during those years. That is bogus. You're already giving back the government so much money. ASDA's fought to enact this READY Act, so it actually pauses these loans while you're in residency, the interest on these loans. Also right now, they're working on legislation to help make sure that dental students have the best quality educators out there. Everyone has that professor they don't like or think they don't do things the right way. You're going to see that when you enter dental school, wherever you go. There's good faculty, there's bad faculty. ASDA knows the importance of good faculty, and they're out there trying to persuade legislation to help recruit and retain the best they can. So the current struggle is that faculty pay is just not very good. You can make more in private practice. That makes total sense. What they're trying to do is offer loan deferment or loan help basically to these people that say, hey, I do want to go to education. Okay, well, we'll give you a $10,000 balance, that kind of stuff. And then the last one is really big. Right now as an undergrad, you can get federal Stafford subsidized loans, which means that during your 4 years of undergrad, interest does not accrue. In dental school, any professional school, you get federal Stafford unsubsidized loans. That means that interest is accruing. Once again, I know I keep talking about Horizon Dental School. I'm not trying to scare you, but it's real. You need to be on top of it because you don't want to come out of there and really work your butt off to be in a good profession and just be bogged down with student loans. But ASDA is working on legislation to let those same undergrad subsidized loans be used for professional students. Dental licensure, this just happened, big stuff, big change here with COVID. Recently, dental students to get their license had to pass a live patient board exam. There are so many issues with that. So this is real. People can fail the board exam without even taking it. So let's say I'm doing a filling for my board exam. I have friends that literally last year had this problem. Live patient exam. The patient is scheduled to show up. The patient does not show up day of boards. you failed the board exam. That's not your fault. That is ridiculous. Or the patient shows up and then you give the patient their injection to get them numb. Then they have a panic attack and they freak out and they leave. You fail. You owe now the $1,300 retake. It's just like not cool. And then a lot of the fillings that you had to do, they have to be, they're so small that most dentists in private practice wouldn't even do them. Those are fillings you watch, you treat later if they get bigger. It's just, it's like substandard of care on this live patient. And why should performance of one day kind of make or break your whole portfolio that you've established all throughout dental school? So with COVID, which is good, it kind of pushed things along. Mannequin exams across the board kind of for most states is the way things are going. And I hope that states will continue that moving forward. It's up to individual state dental boards. Ohio, right side of things, luckily, and we can take mannequin boards this year. The second point there is this DL OSCE. So when you get to dental school, you're going to hear everything about OSCEs, OSCEs. What's an OSCE? Well, an OSCE is an objective structured clinical examination. So they're trying to get away from all these multiple choice tests, which really just test your route memorization. So what these are, it's an exam where you're given mounted casts of people's teeth, you're given x-rays, you're given a scenario, you're given health history, and you're using your knowledge learned in dental school to say how you treat this patient. And they're saying that, hey, this DL OSCE, so DL dental licensure, is basically a way more reliable method for testing dental students' competency at the end of their 4 years. The ADA developed this DL OSCE and it's out right now and being tested in certain states. So look out for that in the future as being like the gold standard in state licensures moving forward. But the ADA developed that along with help from ASDA members. And this is a big one. You guys might have heard of it. Mid-level providers. This has been on the table for years now. Dental therapists. This group basically is in favor of these dental therapists because they say, hey, access to care is an issue. Well, why don't we make these dental therapists, which have 3 years of training post high school, and they can do fillings and extractions to help out in these underserved areas. Well, that's pretty good in theory. I would 100%, I could say, okay, some care is better than no care, I suppose. Well, the problem is they've done research in these states that have these dental therapists, like in Minnesota, and all these dental therapists are going to this urban area. So these suburban areas, they're not even going to these underserved areas. So it's not serving its purpose. It's really, though, the more you think about it, the 3 years is substandard care. Why should, just because you can't afford something, why should you be getting substandard care from a dental therapist? We just, ASDA and the ADA, just think there are better options to tackling these healthcare barrier things, like student loan forgiveness, to go to these places, things like that. All right, enough about the advocacy stuff. I just had to touch on that because that's the basis of who we are. But we also have so much fun. We're way more than that. We have social events, community outreach events. So if you're a volunteer person, awesome. We have so many. Bottom left there, we did some mulching and landscaping for a shelter here on Columbus. The middle one is a Special Olympics swim meet. The one on the right, it's called Miracle League of Columbus. It's it's a baseball league for handicapped children. We have served meals to the homeless. You name it. I guess we had a group with the Prenatal Club, the MLK Day of Service. We had a small group there. I don't know. I think once you get into dental school, I've given the spiel of Prenatal Club before, and I hate to do it again, but don't be that person that volunteers in dental school in pre-dent just to get into dental school. It's so important that you make that a habit moving forward in dental school and your life, because giving back is really why you join this profession. And if it's not, you should reevaluate some things. That's tough love, but don't think about outreach opportunities. Prenatal events, like I said, a lot of this stuff is on hold now. I fully expect it to kind of ramp back up as soon as COVID cools down. But pre-dent day, photo on the right, we had actually 1 year we had 8 different states represented, so that was really cool. We have waxing clinics, drilling clinics, impression clinic was last year. It basically is just a hands-on experience for you guys to get in there and kind of get a feel of dental school. I know it's fast, and I feel like the sessions go by super quick, but it's something tangible you guys can get excited for, and dental students like to be there and really being there for your first steps. We do some mock interview stuff too. The Prenatal Club does. I know myself, at any point in time, I extend this offer to anyone, and I love to help, and I mean this. If you have interviews coming up, or you just kind of want to get ahead of the game and you want to do a little mock interview with me, I I love doing it. I will meet up with you at a coffee shop or via Zoom. I've been developing questions over the years. I've helped out with OSU interviews for the last 4 years, including this year's virtual ones. So I've been collecting questions on a Word document. I'd love to go through those if that's something you guys like to do. I'll look over personal statements for people. Plenty of ASDA members will be there for mentorship if that's something you guys like. There are currently virtual webinars and virtual leadership conferences that you all can attend. I will get to that at their website in a couple more slides. We also have health and wellness events. So we understand that dental school is challenging. It's tough. It's mentally exhausting sometimes. You really need an outlet. We had pumpkin carving. We had cookies and hot chocolate and hot apple cider that day. On the right, we brought in a yoga instructor. We did yoga. We've done runs, and then afterwards we go get smoothies at Berry Blends, and that's all paid for by ASDA. The bottom there, we did a hikes and pints as our new thing we started a couple years ago. We'll go to a Metro Park just to be outside. When you're in the dental school all day, it really is taxing. So we'll go to a Metro Park, we'll hike around for about an hour, then we'll hit up a local brewery and just kind of hang out. So that's at Seventh Son. We just do, like I said, we have fun too. It's not just this advocacy thing. But here we are though. So once again though is we meet with representatives at the top there. There's some, those are high up people. Actually the guy, the third from the top left photo, the guy that's third from the left is Dr. Joseph Crowley. He's a dentist in Cincinnati. He was the president of the ADA 2 years ago. Awesome guy. But you get to be alongside leaders like that. The bottom picture is me and a couple other people. The guy to my right there, he's a state representative for the Columbus district. We met with him last year and sat in his office and just had a chat with him about things we're pushing. I'm not going to go into any more of the acts and the legislation, but super responsive guy. He really seemed interested to talk to us. Some faculty members are there to my right. So you're alongside dentists that are practicing. You're not just by yourself. You're like, oh my gosh, this is intimidating. I can't talk to a representative. I get it. It's super nerve-wracking, but you're alongside dentists who've done this before. You're alongside faculty members who really become great mentors. They know that you care. They know you're one of the good ones out there, and they have your back all throughout dental school. The top right there's a picture of DC at the state capitol building. There's our old secretary from a couple of years back. And then in the bottom right's another photo. National meetings for pre-dental students. There's a National Leadership Conference, which is held every year in Chicago. There's a photo of our group there 2 years ago. This year it was virtual. Next year is a great 3-day thing. You literally meet pre-dents and dental students from all across the country. I think there were 900 people there my last year there. There are socials afterwards. There are free food and drinks. But during the day, you're listening to keynote speakers. You are listening to topics on business, on personal debt management, implant technology, on how to run your practice, how to public speak, all these things. So these meetings, if you have a chance to go to them, while they might be pricey, it's literally some of the most fun I've had in dental school. Like when I'm done, I'll look back and say that these meetings were my best memories. They're a great time. Annual session is another one. I've been to Pittsburgh. I've been to St. Louis, Anaheim, California, and then lobby day at the bottom. That's the dentist and student lobby day, where students get together with dentists from across the country. We go to Washington, D.C. and meet on Capitol Hill and lobby with legislators. So those are things you guys can attend all as pre-dents. I know that we've sent pre-dents at NLC, which is National Leadership Conference, and we've sent pre-dents to the dentist and student lobby day. I think that if anyone shows any interest, please reach out. Like I said, I'll give you contact info because I know that I'm graduating, but I have the current president's info at the end. They're awesome meetings. You'll meet dental students. I promise you, like, hi with dental students is nice because they're the ones that interview. They can put in a good word for you, not to like, you should like butter them up or anything, but like it never hurts to know people. To, if it's happened plenty of times. I'll go to interview someone or read through someone's application and be like, oh, I remember that name, or I remember that face. It definitely puts you a leg up. That's a real thing. So being around dental students as much as you can. I know it's tough right now, but doing that is a big help. Find a good mentor out there. So right now, Lily wanted me to tell you guys, why should you be an ASDA member right now? I understand it's like $71 a year, I think. Why? I get it. You're like, well, it doesn't really do much for me. All these activities are really for dental students. Well, remember, I'm going to go through these lists as to why I think you should do it right now. I know that COVID, we're not having pre-dent day, blah, blah, blah. But eventually there'll be a pre-dent day, all these waxing sessions. You can, make a mentorship opportunity with a dental student. Develop friendships is huge. I made in pre-dental stuff just simply because of being a member there. Like I've never been friends with them outside of it, but I'm super glad that I've made these friends. I'm at a guy's wedding actually next year that I met through ASDA. Super awesome. Application, personal statement, editing, and revise. I've reviewed 20 plus personal statements and applications and helped out pre-dents. There are many other ASDA members who would love to do the same for you. We're rooting for you. We know you guys work hard and deserve it. It is a good resume builder on your application. It's something that's dental related and it's leadership related. A lot of the dentists who are faculty members are also ADA members. They see this, it looks good. For $71, some of these other things, as long as you take advantage of the opportunities, I think it's well worth it. Partnerships, hopefully with the Pre-Dental Club and ASDA moving forward. Community service and social events. You can always volunteer more. I love doing that. Go to these social events. I know it might be scary for pre-dental students. I get it. I was there and it's intimidating sometimes talking to dental students, but I promise you we're not all that bad. And we like to see you guys at these things. I like talking to you guys. It kind of puts some life back into me after, doing this whole dental school thing. Also publications and DAT study material discounts. As an ASDA member, you get the Contour magazine, which has super cool articles, once again, ranging from like research to like societal issues, not just dentistry, like African-American representation in dentistry. There are articles on that kind of stuff, like cultural competence things, on leadership, on women in dentistry. You get that magazine for free. There are also other things, blogs and things online. DAT study materials discounts. Last I checked, it was through DAT Bootcamp, I think. It might have changed since then, but anyway, webinars are big right now because we can't have anything in person. So right now there are a whole bunch of virtual webinars you guys can listen to. I listened to one the other day about how to update and put the best CV/resume out there. I was applying for residencies and it's really helped. There's been interview tip ones kind of all across the board. Those are all included. Networking with future colleagues, making those relationships early is awesome. Online resources at asdanet.org. I'm going there next just to kind of walk you through where to go on the website. Sorry, I'll almost done, I promise. The big thing here, I spent the better part of 4 hours on Monday going through this getting into dental school guide for you, because Lily has it right there. Did they send that to you? They'll send you a copy. Goodness gracious, I had one of those when I did it, and it was awesome to kind of compare dental schools. Like, what are average GPAs? What are average DAT scores? How many people go there? Is it pass fail? Is it a rank system or is it graded? That's really cool. But I went through it and there's way more stuff than that on there. There was, in a lot of articles you might read and think like, all right, this experience with this dental student is like not typical. This won't apply to me. I read through the whole 140, it's 148 pages. I read through all 148 pages and the stuff a lot of kids were saying was like true and very relatable. That alone is almost worth the $71. So if you like want to low key wait until you're a junior and join ASDA, it'd be awesome if you join all 4 years. I'm all about it, but $71 is a lot. I get it, but like it's almost worth it for that dental school guide. It's really good. Also on their website, there's a pre-dental shadowing guide on there where it literally has a template on there. Well, the first couple of pages, it breaks down for you like how you should go about asking a dentist to chat, like the common courtesy, like what you actually do after the interview. Do you send a thank you, handwritten, yada, yada, yada. Well, this guide also is like, there's like a little like log. It says, where did I go? What was the name of this dentist? What was their title? How many hours was I there? What did I learn? Because I think that on your application, you can't just like put your hours. You need to talk about the experience a little bit. You put a sentence or two. Is that right, Lily? So like, it just really stinks if you don't have this stuff written down right after you do it. Because then now you're like, it's May or whatever day it is. And you're like, oh wait, when did I go to this office? How many hours was I there? What did I see? But this prenatal shadowing guide like breaks it down for you. Just fill it out like a little worksheet. It's super nice. That's on the website. The DAT guide and day of the DAT handout also breaks down step by step kind of what needs to be going through your head the day of that DAT, and how you might prepare for it. Then last here is this interview tip guide. I actually looked at that before I did my residency interviews. Very, very helpful. So real quick, I'm gonna look at this website. I'm just gonna show you kind of how to navigate it. So we're at the, here we go. Everyone can see it, right? All right, good. So you log in. Hey, that's me. Welcome, Scott. Cool. So pre-doctoral, so that's me. Pre-dental, that's you guys. So let's go there. Pre-dental real quick. Because it is overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff on here. I get it. Getting into dental school. So pre-dental timeline. So it kind of breaks down freshman year. What classes should I be taking? What kind of extracurricular things should I be looking kind of at? U.S. dental schools. It tells you or what states, yada, yada, yada. A day in the life is cool. There's some videos and kind of chronicles, a D1 through D4. Like I said, that pre-dent shadowing guide with that template is like here. Paying for dental school, it basically talks about different loan repayment options and whatnot. It's kind of scary, but it's necessary. Applying dental school to dental school, this really, really big. Getting those is super, super stressful if you're unorganized and not on top of things. Like it basically tells you also, like from day one, hey, you shouldn't doesn't show up to class and has never talked to this professor. These letters need to be people that can really attest to who you are as a person. That goes way, way further. Kind of year when you should be contacting these folks, and kind of questioning these letters. It's super nice. Post application, interview tip, kind of figuring out what school should I go to if you're lucky enough to get acceptances to multiple ones, and then just kind of preparing you about ways to get through dental school. These are the different webinars you can look at. So there's a whole list of them here. I don't need to go into all that. Those national ASDA meetings I was talking about there. And then this is for your chapter leaders here. And the related blog posts. Here's that guide. So if you try to log into this website and click on this, it won't, you can download a copy, but if you don't have a membership and a login number, you can't do it. So that's why you gotta be a member. There you go. Before I shut down that page, are there any questions about the website?
I have a question.
Okay, good. All right, and we are. Yeah, go for it.
Wasn't the ASDA membership included with like pre-dental day from like past years? I know I went like freshman year, and I'm pretty sure I got an ASDA membership with that.
Sure.
Is that right?
Yeah, it used to be, but it's only good for a year. It's a calendar year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know it's unfortunate, but as dental students, we also pay year to year for it. But yeah, you would typically get that membership included in that fee for pre-dental day.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so why is it important to make time for ASDA? Whether it is as a pre-dent, which I think for sure has its advantages, just in terms of mentorship and getting to know dental students. Excuse me. Why should you make time for it? Because have a stake in your future career. I think that's the first and foremost thing I want to talk about and get across is that, dentistry should be bigger than you. You're there to help people. It should be a collaborative effort. You should be working with dentists, not against dentists. This profession is what you make it. I would hate to go the way of pharmacies, not to crap on pharmacy school or anything, but like think about it. It used to be mom and pop shops who kind of ran the business, and then next thing you know, CVS, Walgreens, like they own everything. Dentistry has fought really hard to not make that a thing. I know we have corporate dentistry out there. We have your Aspen Dentals, your Pacific Dentals, Heartland Dental, but the ADA really fights to make sure that the sole proprietor and these private practice dentists don't go to the wayside. No one's going to fight for you but you. So whether you want to be on the front lines talking to legislators, that's really cool. And if that's a skill you have, awesome. But just being a member and paying your dues and offering that support also goes a long way. All these magazines and things you get from the ADA and from ASDA really help stay current on different issues in dentistry. I know there's really cool technology out there that I would never have looked at, but every month I get my magazine, I kind of just glance through it. I don't every month look at every article, but hey, this is kind of cool. I want to check this out. Kind of one of those things. A lot of these issues under those magazines do come up in dental school interviews. I've seen some questions that kind of tie into things about where dentistry is going. Hey, have you ever heard of mid-level providers? Or hey, have you ever heard about this new technique? So just things that kind of come from being an ASDA member. Number 2, become a stronger leader and grow your CV resume. It's helped me out so much. I mean, my leadership skills have, gone up tenfold. I've met awesome, cool people here. It's helped out my resume, which is not why you should do things, but it never hurts, especially when you're applying for jobs or residency programs or dental school. Having these things on your resume is super important. 3, establishing and expanding your dental network and friendships here at OSU and across the country. Like I mentioned, I got friends, from California all the way to Massachusetts because of ASDA. I've made friendships within OSU, but I never would talk to these people really. I said hi in the hallways, but now I actually am close to these people that I can count on and know they're going to be good practitioners and have my back in the future. Dental networking starts at the pre-dent, I promise you. It should at least. Meet the people that are going to be there to help guide you along the way. And then 4, join those memberships, that dental school guide, any of these webinars, help sessions, study material discounts, the magazines, you name it. And then as you go into dental school, you get more offers as far as like Geico car insurance. You get different travel discounts through different car rental places. You get Office Max or Staples discounts. You get free student disability insurance and life insurance. So super cool things too once you get into dental school. All right, here's a little bit of things if you want to follow us on Facebook, Ohio State ASDA. That is the Ohio State page. Our Instagram is at ASDA_OSU, and then at Dental Students is the ASDA, the national ASDA page. They're always super active posting those things. Like I said, my name is Scott Balzer. I'm the 4th year. Graduating soon, but I'm never too busy to help you guys. I promise you. I do my best to get back to you, whether it's email or text, best I can. My email is there, balzer.22@osu.edu. I'm not sure how long they let you keep that after you graduate, but if you get a hold of me in the next 5 months, it should be fine. I can give you my new email if it comes to that. And then Lauren Ames is the current president of ASDA. She just took over last week. She is a D2. She also, I think, was vice president of the Pre-Dental Club a couple years back. She's super awesome, so she can help answer any questions that you might also have. All right, there it is. There's my spiel about ASDA. Thank you guys for listening. I wish this was in person. I like to be able to read the crowd and I don't know, answer your questions and give pep talks, but thanks for listening nonetheless. If you have questions, I'd love to take them either now or if you want to shoot me a message later, that's fine too.
Okay, if there aren't any questions, then thank you so much, Scott, especially for extending the offer of helping with interview tips and personal statements. I know that's super helpful for a lot of people, and you just sold ASDA for me, so I'll definitely be renewing my membership. Are there any questions from anyone before he leaves? Okay, cool. Feel free to log off. Thank you so much again.
Thank you guys so much. Also, a real quick question. I know you're talking about bad grades and things. As an aside, I promise you, you can get into dental school if you don't do on the class. Low key, I failed OChem 2 times. I took it 3 times. You heard that right. I failed it twice. I had 2 Ds on my transcript. I'm dumb and didn't take the W, and I still got in. Don't do that, but it's possible. Okay? And then I'll leave it and you can talk about the rest. But don't be super scared. You can do it. Don't give up. All right. Bye.
That's a perfect segue. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I have just one more note on the upcoming semester. So student organizations are prohibited from meeting in person or having any organized event until February 1st, or at least February 1st. I assume that date will be extended, but until then, we won't be able to have any fundraising or service events. Hopefully, as the spring semester progresses, that will change, but it's likely that all of our meetings will be over Zoom, which I'm sure we're all very used to by now. All right, so advice on approaching a concerning grade. I think that Scott gave a perfect entryway into this topic. So this is just kind of a brief step-by-step guide that I created. Everyone might have a different opinion, but I think that if you end up with a bad grade, or in your perception, a bad grade, start by just taking a deep breath and realizing, like Scott said, that most of us have been there. Me, plenty of the e-board members, we've all been in that similar position. The next step is to just recognize that almost all dental schools value an upward trend in your grades over the course of undergrad. That's pretty self-explanatory, but essentially they would prefer to see that if you get a concerning grade, that hopefully it's towards the beginning of your undergrad career and you have an upward momentum by the time you graduate or apply to dental school, because that shows growth and capacity and an ability to adapt, versus downward growth kind of shows a different side. And then step 3 is to ask yourself if you received at least a C or higher in the prereq course. So if the answer is yes, you did receive at least a C or above, then take the time to kind of analyze your 4-year plan and determine if you actually think it will ultimately be worth the time and energy to retake the course. And again, each person's situation is completely different. So while one person might do one thing, another might do a different thing in a completely similar situation. So try to avoid comparison. If the answer is no to that question, then you must unfortunately retake the course according to all almost all dental schools require you to retake a prereq course if you received below a C. And you can technically take the class at a different school, take it again, I mean, but your OSU grade will not change. Hopefully that makes sense. Or another alternative is to consider grade forgiveness, which I am going to attempt to explain. So if you retake the course at Ohio State, then your 2 grades will be averaged on the ADSAS application. And again, the ADSAS application is how you apply to dental school. However, if you retake the course at OSU, your OSU GPA will look different. This is a quote from the Grade Forgiveness OSU website. They say that the grade in the repeated course will permanently replace the original grade for the course in the calculation of the cumulative GPA. That was a lot of words and it was kind of confusing in my opinion. So hopefully this example will help. I'll just really quickly read it out loud. So most universities count only the new grade in the repeated course in GPA computation. However, ADSAS counts both the previously earned grade and the new grade. For example, if you took Bio 1113 in the fall of 2020 and earned a grade of C, and then you retook the same course in spring of 2021 and earned an A, then ADSAS would use both the C grade and the A grade to calculate the new GPA, which is an average of the 2. Are there any questions on grade forgiveness? Because again, your ADSAS application GPA will look different than your OSU GPA if you decide to use grade forgiveness. Okay, hopefully everyone is on the same page. So with that said, I'd like us to now listen to 2 different firsthand approaches to concerning grades. And so Erin, this is Erin's experience, but she can't make it to the meeting tonight. So I am going to actually read this slide for her. But fun fact, I actually had almost an identical experience as her, except for instead of calculus, which is the bad grade that she got, mine was in general chemistry, which is a prereq course. So almost everything she says applies to me as well. So Erin says, I received a C+ in Calculus 1 during my first semester of freshman year. Calculus is not a prereq, but it still counts towards your AdSAS science GPA. I won't lie to you, I thought my life was over and I cried all of winter break. Don't be like me. I am about to graduate with a GPA I am very proud of, and I was accepted into dental school despite my bad grade freshman year. So her overall advice, similarly, is to breathe. Consider if you would earn a better grade upon retaking it, or if you should just learn from it and keep moving forward. For me, I knew it wasn't guaranteed that I did much better to justify setting back other classes and retaking the course, so I moved on. Then she used the feeling of failure to motivate her into doing well in every other course. This was necessary for me. I knew how upset I was, and I never wanted to feel like that again. I recognized where I went wrong in my learning, and I made changes. Overall, Erin says that I would advise you to learn from your mistakes and stay on track. If you must retake the course, then do so. But if you earn a borderline grade like mine, I feel like most schools would rather see you work hard and trend upwards after receiving a bad grade than retaking it and trying to mask the original grade. They will see both. So now we're going to move on to Mela, who had a similar situation but approached it completely differently.
Okay, hi guys. So I'm Mela, and I am going to talk about my experience retaking a prereq and using grade forgiveness. So I took organic chemistry my sophomore year, and I did not receive the solid C that we all need in order to apply to dental school. So I had no choice but to retake the class. And so kind of like Scott said, I just want to kind of emphasize that it is a lot more common to retake a class than you probably think it is. I remember feeling super alone in the situation, and like I was the only one who didn't perform well in the class. But I will never forget the first day that I retook the class. So one of my friends was also retaking it just to get a better grade. So that was kind of nice that we came in together. But on the first day, to our surprise, one of our other friends who we had no idea was retaking the class was in the class. And then the girl that was sitting next to me was talking about how she was retaking the class. And then I remember also just like looking around at the lecture, and there were probably like 5 or 6 people from my previous class who I recognized. So that gave me so much comfort. And that's when I finally accepted the fact that I didn't do well, and that's okay. And I just needed to move on. So my advice for retaking a class would be to retake the class with a professor who has a different teaching style or class setup. So the first time I took OChem, I took it with Professor Savov. I don't know if he still teaches OChem. When I had him, it was his first semester teaching at OSU, and I haven't heard of anyone else who has had him, so I'm not too sure. But so the way that his class was set up was kind of an issue for the way that like I learn. So he had 5 assignments, midterm 1, midterm 2, midterm 3, the final, and then like a 15% participation grade. And so for like super strong chem students, you might actually prefer that type of class. But if you're like me and you're not like a huge chem fan or not like a great test taker, that type of class is probably not for you. So I retook the class with Professor Baldwin. I feel like people have mixed feelings about her, but her class worked out a lot better for me. So, she had like exams, of course, but she also had weekly quizzes. She had problem sets due at the end of every week. She had take home homework assignments. She had like a reaction notebook that we had to do. And so that was great for me because I actually stayed on top of the material, because every week, I was forced to study in order to do well on the quiz, or I had to do the problem sets in order to turn them in and get a good grade. So that worked out for me, and I got a grade in her class that I was really happy with. So then my second piece of advice would be to work extremely hard. Do not assume that taking the class a second time will be a breeze. So if you didn't do well the first time taking a class due to the subject matter, You're not all of a sudden going to become a genius in that subject just because you're taking it for the second time. You're definitely going to have to work twice as hard to make sure that you don't fall into the same habits and make sure that you're actually understanding the material, and that you're able to get through it. So, ideas to redeem yourself. These are just some ideas that I thought of. So, the first one is just to get a good grade in the class that you retake and have that professor write you a letter of recommendation, like just highlighting your ability to work hard and persevere and, get through that class okay. And then my second idea is to score high on that subject on the DAT. So, in my case, I took the DAT in August, and OCHEM actually ended up being my highest score. So I think that just kind of shows that I am competent in the subject, despite having to take it a second time. But yeah, so that's my advice. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out or ask me any questions right now if you want to.
Thank you, Mela, especially for bringing up the topic of shame surrounding retaking a class. There's absolutely no reason to feel ashamed for that. Like you said, it's more common than we think, but people don't talk about it because it's embarrassing or something you feel like is a reflection of your own worth when that clearly isn't the case. So like I said before, doing what works well in your particular situation is always the best answer. So trying your best not to compare yourself to others and allow that to reflect on your own intelligence and capability is so easy to do, but try your best to remind yourself that you are not your grade and there are plenty of other people in the same boat. So we have a question that says, how would the ADSAS include my grade for calculus in the science GPA if I got transfer credit from passing AP Calc in high school? So anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to high school credit and AP credit, those grades will not be reflected in your science GPA. It's kind of non-existent. You obviously got the credit itself, but it won't be shown on your GPA, just like taking AP English or AP any other class. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Does anyone else think differently? And College Credit Plus, I'm pretty sure, is the same scenario. Does anyone else know that for a fact? I'm almost positive that any credit you received before coming to OSU will be that case. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion surrounding like, oh, if I take a summer course at this university, does it reflect on my GPA? And honestly, it does get confusing, but if you Google exactly your scenario, typically you can find on Student Doctor Network a great answer. Okay, Nathan says that CCP does count in the GPA. Thank you. I never took any CCP, so I wasn't too sure. Are there any other questions or comments or clarifications or anything I may have misspoke on? Okay, well, if there are, then feel free to send me an email. And if there's anything that you were hoping we would cover in a future meeting, but that you didn't see on our tentative schedule, send me a message and let me know, and hopefully we can fit it into some meeting or in some capacity. Otherwise, everyone is free to go, and we'll see you at the next meeting.